When you look at the research, when we break up with someone, sometimes it's severe enough where it feels like you've broken a wrist.
Dating red flags and green flags. Want to hear some scandal?
I went on a date to Weatherspoons. I was like, green flag.
I don't like any of that. The Office Series 2, Episode 5. I'm not doing that.
If you have a friend who is divorced, you know you have a 75% more likelihood that you will be divorced. All right, I'm going.
Mic drop. Hello, everyone. Hi. So many looks. You all look so great. Welcome to Tinder's Empower Hour. So great to see you all. We're here to talk about love, sex, and modern dating. I was really emphasizing the sex there, but also here to talk about love and modern dating. I am Munroe Bergdorf, Tinder's Empowerment Ambassador, new Empowerment Ambassador. Yes, the first Empowerment Ambassador. So very excited to be here to talk about the transformative power of online dating. Before we get started, I want to know how many singles we have in the room. Okay, that's good. That's good. Well, we're all on a journey. How many are cuffed up? The minority. How many it's complicated? How many situationships? Oh, I was expecting more. Okay, well, we're all on a journey together. And today I am joined by three incredible industry faces, friends, voices. We have Paul Brunson, relationships expert. And we have Charley Marlow, presenter and comedian. And Sydney Lima, writer and cultural curator and voice. Okay, so let's get going. Paul, I'm going to come to you first.
All right.
Oh, oof. ASMR. How can people express their confidence on Tinder? And also, what are we seeing with people expressing confidence on apps currently?
You know what I love about that? First is, shout Munroe. I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
Shout out to Munroe. Really.
Thank you.
We
always gas me, Paul. Every time I see you, he's always just like, you got this. Come on. I just need like a Paul in my pocket.
Yeah. Look, I dressed like you too tonight. The whole thing.
Yeah, come on, Leather.
So the question is interesting because you said on Tinder, right? And I think that the first question is just, are you confident? You know what I mean? Let that sit with you for a second. Are you confident? Because most of us are not. You know, when I look at the different research around confidence, around self-acceptance, it's very low, to the tune of maybe 70% are not. So the first step is are you, right? And if you're not, before you fake the funk on Tinder or whatever, you know, wherever, is get confident. We could even talk about that. But the next part is that you can look at someone's profile and you could see, you know, are you hiding what you perceive to be imperfections in a photo? Are you not explicitly stating what you want? Are you stating things because you're seeking validation, like please swipe right if, right? And so these are all of the challenges, but I would say the first place is that you want to check yourself and you want to ask yourself, are you? And then if you're not, you want to go about progressing towards self-acceptance, self-esteem, and self-love. That will help to boost your confidence.
Absolutely, that's great advice. And also when we're confident, we know what we deserve, we know what we want. And I think that streamlines dating so much. I mean, I'm not the expert, but I think that from my own perspective, the more confident I am in myself, the more I can kind of like open myself to somebody. Just feels like connection.
Oh yeah, absolutely. See, I think here's the beauty is that it acts as like a fence, right? So the more confidence that you have, and I'm totaling all of that up, self-esteem, self-acceptance, etc. It acts as a fence. So you will only allow someone into your life if they could do what? Get over that fence. And if they can't get over that fence, what do? You keep them out, right? So that's why it's so important to have that self-acceptance, self-love, self-esteem, and confidence.
Amazing. Charley, humor. Something that
I don't want to follow that.
good luck.
This is where the
Buckle up.
intelligence is. This is where it's not.
No, you got this. You got this. Humor is something that we have all fallen in love with you for, and the way that you use it to communicate, your identity, your life, you connect with others. How can we and should we use humor in our dating profiles on Tinder?
Oh, what a fantastic question. I think we definitely should use humour in our dating profiles. I think it's important how we use it. I think if you're going to use it to deflect, then that's maybe not great. I think I too have fallen victim to this. I think it's easy to maybe go into something, as Paul said, you don't know what you want yourself. You're not being honest, you don't have that self-acceptance. I have ADHD, by the way, so I will just go on a massive rant and not know where this ends
We
up.
love a tangent.
I'm already going off on a tangent. So I think, what the fuck was I saying?
We're already here.
What was I on about? Yeah, basically, humour. Yeah, you need to be confident. What? You need to have self-acceptance. I think if you're using humour, I think you need to know when you're using it in the right way, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? And not use it to kind of brush over things and cover things up. I think it needs to be used in the right way.
Yeah, no.
Take that what you will.
Absolutely. As a comedian, how do you use humor in, how funny are you on dates? How much do you give, especially when it's your profession? I feel like, where's the balance with, being Charlie the comedian and Charlie on a date?
I think, that's such a good question. I don't know. I feel like I think the more comfortable I am, obviously as I've settled into my relationship with my partner, I think I don't know. I feel like I have much more space to use humour, but I think I've stopped using humour, as I said, as almost like a defence mechanism, because I think I've allowed myself to say, I think I used it if I wasn't too comfortable with something, or not necessarily mega uncomfortable, or if someone was like, oh, can't make our date tonight, and I was like, ha ha ha, okay, that's not really funny, is it? I'm a bit annoyed. So I think I've stopped using it in that sense, and I really kind of tried to go, okay, right, well, face this issue, voice your concerns, voice if you've got an issue, and actually use that voice, and stop kind of piecing things off with trying to be funny, and just deal with it head on.
Great advice again.
Did that make any sense?
And I Kissed a Girl, which we all loved, and one of the best shows on television, the I Kissed series, whether it's boy or girl, is just incredible. I Kissed a Boy also with Leighton Winnings, my cousin. Incredible series. What did we learn about people that used humour on I Kissed a Girl?
Oh, I didn't think you were going to ask me that. People use humour on it. I think it definitely not got them into some difficult situations, but I think again it is hard to use it when you're starting out in a relationship or a situationship or anything, when you're kind of exploring your dating life, because I think it was used in a way to not be as honest. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it was like a bit of an easy way out. So I think, but it's easily done, isn't it? I mean, if you're in a masseria.
And also sometimes it's, yeah.
I mean, none of us have bit, well, go on, babes.
And also sometimes when you don't really know each other that well, sometimes it can be difficult to navigate boundaries with humour and, find out whether or not you've got that commonality of what you find funny and do you find that?
Yeah. And I felt like I learned so much from them, because I was like, they were just so open about dating. I went into that and I realised, I was like, fuck me, you're a prude. Because I was just like, they were so casual about dating. And I was like, I love this. Obviously, as they should be, it's the whole purpose of the show. Yeah. But they were just so casual with it and so open. And I really just enjoyed seeing that from my point of view.
I think we all need to see that, especially when dating can be, it can be tough. I think it's important to see examples of dating being fun. So more I Kiss a Girl. Season 2, please.
Season 2, please. Thank you.
Sydney, Let's talk about first dates outfits, because you've got a wardrobe. Sydney's got a wardrobe, guys.
I've actually got a bit in trouble over Fashion Week because I've got a tendency to have really nice clothes, but then kind of ruin them by like, I basically was using some moisturizer on my legs and then got this oil on this really lovely Nancy Doja dress.
And
and
what was the material? Not
it was like
suede.
chiffony. So like I'm just not, I don't deserve nice things.
Oh, don't
is
say
what,
that.
Is what,
you deserve everything, babes.
Thank you. But dating outfits, I feel like I go for, I feel like I do that thing where I try and act like I haven't made any effort, but I like,
I was saying this with
which
my
is like avoidant, isn't it?
No, I actually think it's
that
good.
would be avoided.
Do you think so? Oh, well, I'm not the expert again, so
It's like,
don't listen to me.
I like
Stay away. No, I'm joking.
So no, there's two avoidant outfits I have. I have the one where I look like I haven't made an effort, like, and I've been busy all day and I've just kind of turned up. And then the other one is coming from a friend's birthday outfit.
Okay.
So there's two very
There's like
avoidant-
narratives. There's narratives to this.
So yeah, don't take my advice on that.
Well, I'm actually going to ask your advice. How can we dress confidently for our dates?
Well, okay, so dress with purpose, I guess. Dress like you are deliberately going on a date. Don't do what I do. I mean, everyone in this room looks pretty wonderful. I feel like they could all just be going straight to a date.
Yes.
Dress as you are, and the rest will follow. I feel like Paul would be better advising.
Can I follow up on that?
Yeah.
Can I follow up? No, I like that. But, you know, it's interesting. When you look at Tinder research, right, you see that 86% of young daters on Tinder say that they want to have someone that they could feel their authentic self with. And the best way to do that is for you to show up as you, right? Because we reflect that. So the more authentic you are to you when you show up, all the quirks, you show it, right? That is a win because you show up as your authentic self. They see that and they respond to that.
Be weird.
Be weird. Yeah.
Don't be afraid to be weird.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
yeah.
How weird can you go?
You go as weird as weird as you are. That's the beauty.
Weirdness is a gauge to find your compatible partner, I think.
Because what happens if someone just as weird shows up?
Yes.
It's magic.
And then you can be weird together.
It's magic.
Okay, so should we talk about modern dating? And, you know, dating is something that I feel really binds us all. It's something that we've all done. It's something that we all kind of are encouraged to do within society. But I think that it's also a process that we go through. You know, when I first started dating, I really felt like I was like dating kind of like for expectations of society. You know, when it comes to like sex, which we're going to talk later, it's like I was almost more concerned with, you know, whether the partner was enjoying it more than whether it felt good to me. But like, with your dating experiences, when was the moment that you decided or that you felt, this is who I am, I'm going to show up unapologetically as myself? I'm going to come to you, Charlie, first.
For fuck's sake. Oh, I feel like I walk through life as if I've been smacked in the head with a pan. And I don't have many thoughts. No, I feel like when I first started dating, it was very much for validation off others. And I think the more I did that, and I was like, well, this doesn't feel very good. And then they got to a point where I was seeing someone and then we just like a little bit, had a few dates, and then it was a very like amicable parting ways. And I think it was so grown up and mature, and I thought, oh, you know what, this is really nice. Even though obviously we've not taken it any further, but it wasn't like nasty, it wasn't horrible. And I thought, this is really nice, like, and I feel like I've grown from that. And I thought, this is what I want to take forward into future dating. And I feel like I really learned from that experience where we were just both nice to one another.
Yes.
We treated each other with respect.
Well,
and I thought, I like this.
more of that.
Yeah.
How about you, Sydney?
Continuing from that, I feel like I have a lot of dates that turn into friendships. And I think that's when you're really speaking to like-minded people, and then they fall into that friend zone.
When did you, because like I think there's still a bit of a taboo in, you know, going from like lovers to friends, I guess, for like some people, like, you know, we feel like we need to be rigid with the boxes of where we are, and sometimes that, you know, kind of like blurriness scares people. But when did you learn to embrace that rather than kind of feel like you need to kind of go straight into?
I think there's something about London where I think everyone is kind of in friendship circles have dated
This is
the
very
same
true.
people.
Especially if you're queer.
So it's easier to be friends with people
Yeah.
because you're seeing them a lot. It's probably not the right answer. But,
And also, I feel like if you have a friend and they've like dated your ex,
You've
it's
gotta-
kind of
you've gotta
you
keep
gotta
it-
keep it moving.
yeah, you've got to keep it amicable. You've got to keep it nice.
You're gonna see each other at Christmas party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's learning to work with the London space in
Yes.
dating.
Yes.
I don't envy you, lot
City
down
modern
here.
dating.
I need
Paul,
to branch out.
our expert.
All right, I'm gonna go
Give
with
us the
I'm
advice.
gonna go with the nerdy answer.
Okay.
Has anyone heard of Robert Sternberg in here? All right, this is good. There's no nerds in the room. I see. So there's something called the Sternberg theory of love, and this is very important because, you know, he's studied love, quite a bit, and he says that there's really 3 moments, right, that cement our love and then our willingness to step out into who we are. One is that when you have intimacy with someone. And intimacy isn't, I'm not talking about physical, I'm talking about that you feel as if you could be safe with that person. You could be fully vulnerable with that person. That's one. Secondly is that you have passion, physical passion, sexual passion. And third is that you feel like you can commit and they can commit to you. So in other words, you can trust them. They will be there for you during the hard times of your life. If you have commitment, you have passion, and you have intimacy, that is what's called consummate love, according to Sternberg. That's the moment typically that we step out and we could say we could be our full self with this person. So it's that moment. And that happens at different times throughout a relationship, but those 3 pieces are very important to making that happen.
So our choices make a big impact on our confidence as individuals too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Perfect. Dating red flags and green flags. Let's get to it. Want to hear some scandal. What's your biggest red flag? And come to you first, Sydney. If you, in a Tinder dating profile, what makes you think, not for me?
Men with puppies.
No, Sydney. How could you?
No, it's manipulative. It's so manipulative.
That's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it.
You've got to think about it. What do you think, Paul?
Why is it manipulative?
Because it's like, look how cute this puppy is. Look how nice I am. And then it's just, you know,
I think
they
it's
might
less
not
manipulative.
be.
It's like, here's me with my hot friends, but I can't figure out which one
they're
is
your
you.
sister
I feel
or
like
your
that's
friend.
more manipulative.
Or both, basically having a confusing
Hot friend
plus
or hot
ones.
puppy.
Dog or, yeah, puppy or plus one in a picture. That's my red flag.
And a green flag?
Humour in the writing bit.
Nice.
That's quite
What
good.
kind of humor are we talking?
Sarcasm.
Sarcasm.
Yeah.
That's the kicker.
Yeah.
Okay, I like weird
The
humor.
door.
I like real like deadpan humor, and also weird like kind of cultural references. Yes, a Housewife's reference maybe.
Oh, I love that.
Have a little bread,
beast.
calm down. Like, or like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, it's not about me. Red flag.
I don't like any of that shit that's like The Office Series 2, Episode 5. It's off.
Really? Is that a
I'm
thing?
busy. I'm not doing that. And it's always like, I got a hair on my butt crack.
Oh.
I'm like, I hate that.
How about green flags?
Ooh. I haven't got any. Green flags.
Like something that you see and you're like, oh.
I quite like when they fill that part out, you know, where you have to be honest and it's like, I'm looking for a long-term relationship.
That's nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, you don't have to be certain on what you want.
It's good to know like kind of people's end goals, I feel, or like desires for like what they
Yeah.
want to make them feel fulfilled.
Yeah, I quite like seeing what people are into.
Okay, good.
Yeah, what's floating the boat at the minute.
Love that. Cool. What kind of red flags are we seeing across the board when it comes to Tinder? Like what is turning people off en masse?
I think the biggest red flag is just like a profile that's not filled out. You know what I mean? Like not filled out all the way. It's like one photo, like, you know, half a name. You know, these are, it like suggests like there's no creativity. It suggests that you're not really interested, you know. So a red flag is when you don't complete the profile. Like that's a massive red flag. The biggest green flag is what you just said. is that
Boy.
yes, 72
points.
72% of Tinder members say that they want to see relationship goals right out the gate, right? And you just said that. It's like, so that's the biggest green flag, because you see the intention. And when you see someone's intention, you know what? They're self-confident, they have higher self-esteem. So you want to make sure that you're including your relationship goals. Nice.
Oh, go on, right.
Nice.
1 point
Get in.
for Charlie.
Hey. Damn.
Okay, so when we get past the initial first impressions of like looking at someone's profile, and you're actually on the date, what kind of bugbears do we have of, communicating with someone, if someone's on their phone or if someone's not really, asking you questions? Like, what kind of things makes you feel, this just isn't going that well? Do you have any stories? You do?
I went on a date.
Do you care to share?
Yeah. I went on a date to Weatherspoons, and I was like, green flag.
It's happened to us all.
He brought his dog. No, basically, he sat.
We got to the root of the trauma, guys.
He sat, those booths, like drinking booths. He sat on the opposite side, and he sat like just away from me. Like pretty much like turned away, and I was like talking at the back of the booth. I mean, I don't know if it was just pure anxiety, but it was a lot. I mean, I didn't know what to do, and then I kept
body language.
body language. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he was physically turning away from me. So I was like, do I turn him around? Like,
Did he warm up?
no. Yeah, that was that.
Oh. Well, we got to the root of the trauma at least.
Finally.
So body language is important.
Yeah.
Can we talk about body language, Paul?
Oh yeah. Body language is big. There's this thing called the belly button rule, right? Which is very important, right? Have you heard about this?
No.
Has anyone heard about this? Gee, oh my gosh, one person.
We're learning so much.
Where did you hear about this? Oh, you know about it? Oh, there's 2 people that know about it. Oh my gosh,
wow.
where'd you hear about it? That? Yeah, exactly. Where your belly button is pointed, that's where your interest lies.
What if you have an offset belly button?
Then your interest is wild, right? But if you think about it, is like you could even do this at a party, right? You could see that where everyone typically is pointing their belly button, right? That's who has the center of power in the room. So if you want to really show that you are interested in someone, what you're doing is that you want to make sure that you're facing them. You're pointing, your belly button basically at them. Look. See, it's like look what he's doing right there. You see, you can see. So that's the whole idea.
That's all to me.
Yeah, he's locked in. He's locked in. Yeah, he's locked in. But if you're on the date, like when you were on the date, and the belly button's not pointed, and maybe the belly button is pointed at the door. His
He
interest.
wanted to leave.
His interest is elsewhere. Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
I'm sorry.
What do we do if we're in a situation where maybe someone's body language is not necessarily giving us what it needs to give? And like, do we, is it on us to try and bring them out of our shell, or do we just kind of admit defeat?
All right, so there's 2 schools of thought here. One is that we have to understand that a lot of us are just nervous. Right? You're in front of a beautiful person that you could be into, and so you're going to get nervous and you're going to have all kind of wild behavior. So you have to understand that. So you want to give someone, benefit of the doubt. But I say that is that allow them to do that once, but not a second time on your watch. And I think this is where boundaries are important, and this is why I go back to, it always goes back to self-acceptance, self-esteem, and self-love. When you have those, you'll keep the boundaries high, and then you are more willing to walk away. But if you don't have any of those things, then you'll just stay.
Great advice again. Okay, let's move on to love. Dating, I feel like the more you do it, the better you get at it. And well, that's my advice. Do it more, keep doing it. But I think we all go on that process with, not necessarily knowing what we want, what we deserve. How's that process been for you, Charlie? And when you first started dating to now, and recognizing, not necessarily what your type is, because we don't all have types, but, recognizing, I like this. Like, how's that process been for you?
Oh, I think, God, I went into dating exactly what Paul said. I didn't have any of them 3. I can't remember what they are, but I didn't have them. And I think I was just like, okay, like you said, Munroe, I was like, I will date because I'm meant to. And then it was just like a massive shit show. And both, you know, it's just like that first relationship, and it's just, oh my
we're
God.
going to get to this, yeah.
And it's like the worst thing in the world. But then it's, you break up and it's horrible and you're crying and you're like, oh my God, this is absolutely awful. But it teaches you so much. And then going forward from that, you're like, okay, I need to work on myself. These are the things that I want. I won't stand for that again. So I think as horrible as it is, obviously everyone talks about that first relationship, but I think it teaches you so much. And I think, going forward from that, it's been all right.
Heartbreak is, really an opportunity for us to check in with ourselves, I feel. It's horrible at the time, but, I broke up with my ex-partner at the end of last year, and so painful, but also grown so much as a person in that time. And, what kind of lessons have we learned from heartbreak? You willing to share?
Oh God, I think the rebuilding part is quite. I think I feel like I had one big breakup where the rebuild was pretty strong, and then I guess every time you have another one, you kind of keep coming back stronger and stronger. What was the question?
What kind of lessons have you learned, or are you willing to share from?
I got very good at yoga because I kept doing I've got to get up this morning and just kind of do something. Got very into hot yoga. But that's it really. I don't have anything else to offer.
Try out yoga. Well, it's
Yoga.
It's definitely a healthy coping mechanism.
I got into Ferrero fucking Rochers. God's sake.
It's a spectrum. Paul, can you give us some advice?
Yeah. You know what's interesting is I don't think that we as a society, we give enough respect to the breakup and to the heartbreak that comes with breakups. Everyone probably in this room has broken up with someone, and most of us are like, all right, well, sorry about that. But when you look at the research, and a lot of this research was done by a friend of mine, Dr. Helen Fisher. She passed away, may she rest in peace. What she showed is that when we break up with someone, sometimes it's severe enough where it feels like you've broken a wrist or an arm, like you've broken a bone, or it could be as deep as a 3-degree burn. Think about that. That's the type of pain. It's traumatic.
It definitely stays with you as well. So.
It stays with you, and then it could reshape how you see life, and it will reshape how you then connect with people. So heartbreak is real. It's real, and we need to treat it seriously. But what do? There's 3 things that we should always do with heartbreak. One is that you want to surround yourself with people that you love and adore, so you can emotionally connect with them. Secondly is that you want to surround yourself with professionals. Why? Because they'll teach you positive coping behaviors instead of negative coping behaviors. And then third is you want to try to get around other people who have suffered through the same thing. So they can empathize and sympathize with you. But it's very important that you treat it seriously, not just, oh, well, I broke up. It is a traumatic event that could reshape your life.
Absolutely. But also, what an opportunity to check in with yourself and just be like, who am I on the other side of this?
Yes.
Rather than who am I with this person? And it really does feel like, sometimes you're like stepping into a different reality. So I think, as painful as it is, it's sometimes like a gift in disguise. Should we talk about exes? Talking about exes on first dates, yay, nay?
I think it's normal to, I don't know, is it normal? It's normal to say like, oh, my ex would do this. And I think if it's in a situation where you're setting boundaries and you go, my ex would do this, or this happened, and this is the reason why I have behaved like this, or I'm behaving like this, or I really want to change this about myself, or blah, blah, blah. I think that's acceptable. Is it, Paul? But I think if it's just like, you're on a first date and it's like, I love the arancini. It's like, my ex loved arancini. Okay, asked. Like,
I was seeing someone who was like going through a break. Well, they'd broken up, and every time I came out with him, yes, I kept going back to him. He would talk about how he had to go and get more things from her house, and he was like, "Oh, my cat's still there," and he was like, "I've got to go and get my cat from there." Like, okay. I mean, it's more for me because I kept hanging out with him. But yeah, he made that move out quite a big part of our date. Yeah.
How many times? Just out of interest.
Until he moved the cat out. So about three times.
Okay.
Oh, you were seeing him?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was your mate. Oh, fuck me. Oh, no, that's bad.
I know because yeah.
Oh.
I mean, what would you say to that?
I mean, if you, I'll say this is that if you can't talk about your ex positively, then you haven't healed from the situation.
Yes. Yes.
All right, I'm going.
Mic drop. Can we talk about like grieving times? Because, breakups really feel like, you're grieving like a part of you. And also, you don't have access to somebody that, you had a lot of access to before. What period of time is it traditionally taking us to get, not over it, but like past it to the point where we can like be healed enough to like embrace someone new?
It depends on how toxic the situation was. Not to go way. I feel like every time it comes to me, I'm like saying something terrible, right? But we talk a lot about. You're talking about attachment, right? Avoidant, right? Attachment style is massive. I suggest everybody understand what your attachment style is. But what's wild is that you could have a secure attachment, which is the best attachment to have, right? You could be in a toxic relationship for 1 month, and you could become avoidant, or you could become anxious. And then your entire way that you connect with people changes as a result of that 1 or 2 months. And that may take you 2 years to come back from, or it could take so it depends on the severity of the relationship, which is why we need to stop suffering fools. We must stop suffering this, because it's not just, come on now. Yes. Because it's not just you, it's also your friends and family, that suffer through you. So that's why we can't. Yeah. It's very important.
I'm going to keep coming back to you, sorry, because this is good. Tips for navigating heartbreak, for, like how can we soothe that? Because it can really become all-consuming. And as you said, it can affect, your other relationships with your family, with your friends, with your work. So how can we feel more calm whilst navigating internal chaos?
There's so many things, but I go back to those 3 types of people, but I could talk about interactions with those 3 types. So one is that you want to have people that, I always say that not all family's family. So you want to have people that you truly adore, that you feel like you could be safe with, that you can just emotionally connect with and be able to become emotional with and talk about your feelings on the situation and your emotions. That's one. They'll hear you. You'll feel heard. That's very important. Secondly, is I say professionals, because what ends up happening if we don't have professionals, we'll then create what are called negative or destructive coping behaviors. So that's why a lot of us will maybe start abusing alcohol. Or a lot of us may start abusing drugs as a result of the breakup. That's a negative coping behavior. Whereas there's positive coping behaviors where a professional could help to put us on that track. And then third is that you want to have people who have gone through that same experience, because you know that you're not alone. You're not the only one who suffers through these challenges. So when you could put those 3 people in your life, I guarantee you your life will become better. And then, Munroe, to your point is that you can then, like the bounce back is incredible, because you learn all of those things, and those are new skills and new tools that you take, and you become better. And ultimately, most of us who go through breakup become better.
Have you felt that in, your trajectory of dating, like, with your big loves? I'm assuming that we've been in love. Sorry, it hasn't happened for everybody, so I don't want to assume that it has. But, with big experiences with other people, have you seen that trajectory?
The bounce back?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. The rebuilding. I definitely think so. Yeah.
Sure.
No, I'd say
I know, I was just trying to think of like exactly what happened, but it was a long time ago. But it was like, that was like the big love heartbreak. It took a long time though. It took like 4 years. And then, but now I'm currently going through my summer of love, which is extending.
Yeah, Sydney.
It's my year of being single, which is really fun. Summer, which is going to continue. So yeah, and I will be asking for advice on how to deal with that, so I don't end up back in that spot of being heartbroken. I think
You're back in that spot.
no, so I don't end up
Okay,
like that.
yes,
No.
good.
It's a summer of love.
How's it been? How's it going?
Yeah, it's good.
Give us
good.
some high points.
I'm just worried that like someone's going to watch it who's been part of my summer of love and find out about the others.
I asked for scandal.
Scandal. So I'll keep that.
Can you give us some insights
Give us some
into
names.
Sydney's Summer of Love?
No, it's just been very pleasant, really.
Yeah?
Yeah, no. Just
Any dating highlights?
dating highlights. I did something quite fun.
It's okay. It's like nearly 9 o'clock.
Come back to me.
Okay. All right. I will. How about you, Charlie?
Oh, what, the rebuilding thing?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's hard, isn't it? I think when it initially happens, I don't know if it's controversial to say, but like, again, Paul might disagree. I think even though I felt like when I had like a big breakup in the past, I had like my friends and my family were amazing. It almost, I don't know if this is like a stigma, but it almost feels like there's so many times that you can go, yeah, I've just cried in the toilets at work again. Do you know what I mean? And without feeling a bit like Harry Bradshaw, like we're all talking about the news or something's happened, I don't know, in another country, and I'm like, yeah, I'm really depressed. It's like, oh, all right, back to depresso over there. But I don't know, it definitely does force you to look at yourself in a different way and like rebuild after that. But I think, I don't know, I feel like it's sometimes overlooked, like especially in like workplaces, how down you can be for a while. And it's, I don't know, maybe it's just I'm emotionally inept.
No, not at all. I don't think that we actually hold that much space for heartbreak or really take it that seriously. You know, when serious when it's us, but when it's other people, it's kind of, we expect that process to be fast forwarded a bit.
Yeah,
So yeah.
It feels like, I don't know, if someone had died, it'd be like...
Well, it's grief. It is grief, isn't it?
I know, it feels, I don't know, almost not taken as seriously because it's a different form of grief. But I do think it's hard when people are going through it, and it's, I don't know, yeah.
Normally, there's kind of 4 stages to it. One is called bargaining. Bargaining is when you start to say, well, what could I have done better? Right? You start to beat yourself up. Maybe if I did this, maybe they would have stayed. That's the bargaining. Then you normally go through another phase, which is called anger. You're just mad. You're angry, right? But then there's depression. Depression is when the anger moves to another level and you feel like you'll never find love again. Depression is a state of hopelessness. But what I will tell you is the last step is self-acceptance. That is where you know what I mean? I saw that on your face. You were like, yes! Right? Self-acceptance is when you say, you know what? I acknowledge all the flaws and all the issues in the relationship, and you know what? I'm okay with it because I know I'm still great. And once you hit that, that's when you're able to launch off. And sometimes that takes 4 years. Sometimes it takes 2 years, right? But I guarantee you, once you go through those phases, that's when life becomes better.
And that goes back to, again, when someone's talking about their ex in a negative way, maybe they haven't gone through those 3 stages. Yeah. Great advice. One more thing on breakups, and then we're going to move to sex. How can we hold space for our loved ones, our friends who are going through breakup? As we said, we don't necessarily always, take enough time to understand the pain because we're not feeling it. And it's, we're not there in the relationship. So it's hard unless we're like, right there. But how do we hold space for our loved ones who are experiencing heartbreak?
Go to their ex's house and burn it down.
Ooh.
You've done that. I can see. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know what? You love them every way you can. I mean, that's the short answer. You love them every way you can. And that means taking them out. That means, being there for them. That means if they just need a shoulder to cry on, if they need to repeat the same thing 50 times, allow them to repeat it 50 times. You love them any way you can and every way you can.
Oh, great advice. Always. I need like a copy of you. I need to like clone you, like Coach Paul.
Pocket Paul is a good idea.
Yes, Pocket Paul.
Pocket Paul. It's like Polly Pocket.
Trademark, don't it? Okay, sex. I want to talk about sex. Yes. So types. I think that a lot of people, especially, looking at certain shows, I think the topic of types comes up a lot. Like, what's your type? I personally don't have one, and as someone who dates all genders, all expressions of identity, all backgrounds, like I just don't really have like a type, and that's kind of come alongside my own self-acceptance, the more that I've gotten to know myself, the more open I am to like difference and just going on that journey. But when navigating online dating, we tend to gravitate towards a certain type unknowingly. Have you found yourself doing that? And have you ever thought, how can I break out of this and, maybe expand my horizons?
You answer first.
Big question.
I'm trying to get away from my type because I was talking about, who was I talking to earlier? About my type being the worst, like musicians.
Oh, and actors, apparently.
And actors. So
apparently actors have a lot to answer for.
It's trying to move away from that type,
Okay.
which takes a lot of strength.
What kind of musician are we talking?
Any. No, I mean,
like DJ or
No,
like
just DJs,
emo singer or
not an emo singer. Although
No?
emo's coming back, isn't it?
It is apparently.
Yeah. Maybe they will be on my radar. No, I think just music. Frontmen. Just don't go there.
Okay.
Don't go there. So my new type is a non-musician,
Okay.
and which takes on a lot of space. So I'm quite open to ideas.
I love that. I love that. Avoiding musicians.
I feel like I've not. I feel like I've not been on that many dates to like have gathered a time. I mean, I probably have. A middle-aged woman. That's it. Yeah, I have a type. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so probably answered it for me.
Okay, fab.
Yeah, works
so we
for
know
me.
what we like, but are we? Well, you're in a relationship, so you're not going on the dates at the moment. But
Not that she knows. No, I'm joking. I'm not. I'm not.
Paul, can we talk about types online and
Let's
like
do it. Let's do it.
interacting kind of like pushing ourselves to, experience new things and maybe renegotiating with what's not working for us?
Yeah, it was actually this specific question or topic that made me know that I love Tinder, right? And this is the reason why, is that in almost every other dating app, what you see is you get placed into a silo based on type. Tinder's like one big party. And Tinder is, I think, one of the few apps that allows you to connect with people outside of your type, outside of your circle. And even if you look at the data, 80% of Tinder members have dated someone of a different ethnicity. I mean, think about that. That's mind-blowing when you think about that. So it's so important for us to meet and mingle with people who are not our types. And one thing I saw, so back in the day, my wife and I ran a matchmaking business in the United States. And one of the things that we saw is that the people who had the highest self-esteem had the least amount of type.
Sorry.
The people with the lowest self-esteem had like 150 items on their list.
For God's sake.
Munroe's got 1 point now.
You know what I mean? So esteem, I think, also feeds into type. It's very important.
Okay, and how do we negotiate that? How do we improve that? Like, how do we push ourselves outside of our comfort zones?
Well, we have to work on our esteem. Like, I'm going to say this. This is some people are going to be very mad when I say this, but I'm going to say it because it's fact, is that the higher your self-esteem, the least I'm trying to politically make this right.
Yeah.
The higher your self-esteem, the least the least commercially attractive person you desire. Right? So the higher your self-esteem, the more that you're able to, you don't need external validation.
Okay.
Right? So if you have low self-esteem, you need to have someone that meets the beauty standards of what you perceive the world to have. Why? Because you're seeking the world to validate your partner.
Okay.
But when you have high self-esteem, your partner could be 2 feet tall,
Yeah.
right? 5 legs, you know what I mean? Bald, and you're like, I love this person because I love this person. I don't care what everyone else thinks. And that's why it's so important to have high self-esteem and for us to work on that high self-esteem. I mean, we could talk about that too, but that's why self-esteem is so important.
Yeah, amazing. So we start dating kind of more for what we need rather than what we think we want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love that. I think that as you said, self-esteem, self-respect, self-worth, that's a muscle. And it's something that we definitely all need to work at. And sometimes when you take your eye off of the ball, then you can end up in a situation that can feel disempowering. But if we look back through our dating lives, I guess, was there a moment that you thought, this is not serving me? How can I break into a new timeline where I'm dating people that deserve me and that I deserve? Sydney. Okay, Charlie.
Oh, I think when you're just getting a lot of disrespect. And I think I fell into a pattern where I was like, didn't have a lot of self-esteem, didn't have a lot of confidence. But I thought, come on, even this is taking the piss here. I'm going to step away from this. I think there was just a lot of like, oh, well, see you on Tuesday. Tuesday never happened. See you Wednesday. That never happened. And I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. And I felt so empowered just walking away. I was like, because I think I also fell into a pattern of like, okay, well, we've been on 3 dates now, so we will get married. And I was like, that's me for life. I'm done. So I think, yeah, I just felt quite good walking away. Felt like Julia Roberts.
Yeah. I think it's good, when you recognize that something's not working for you, and sometimes it can really take time, a little too long sometimes. But it's a really empowering moment when, you realize that enough is enough. How about you, Sydney?
Yeah, it just reminded me of this guy that I was seeing who, he didn't live in London, and he kept saying that he was going to come to London and see me. And he'd come to London and see me, but then I'd try and call him. We were making plans to see each other that evening. And then he'd just kind of disappear, and he'd do that 3 nights consecutively. And then I sent him the text being like, don't speak to me again, which sounds really over the top, but he was messing me around quite a lot. And that's that, really. So I've come out of it.
No, I think that's good though. Set your boundaries. Yeah.
I think it's assertiveness.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, bollocks to him.
Yeah. Thank you.
Look at us.
Paul, coming to you.
All right, so I believe, this is controversial too, I believe you could work with any behavior, but there's 2 that mean you can never be in a relationship with this person. 2 that no matter what, you need to break up. One is research by the Gottmans, who showed that the number 1 determinant for a breakup is lack of respect. So if your partner feels like they are on a higher level than you, that's lack of respect. You can never be in a relationship with someone who believes that you are lower than them. That's 1. 2 is if your partner is unwilling to put in any work in the relationship. If they say, you know what, we're good. I know we only have sex once every 6 months, but this is good. Whatever it is, if they feel like they're not willing to put in any work, there's no effort, you can't be in a relationship with them, because a relationship is constant effort. So unwillingness to put in work or disrespect, those 2 you can never work with. You have to leave.
Yeah, advocate for yourself and recognize, when something's not right. It's it's especially, coming from, the trans perspective, we often end up in dating situations with men, if you're a trans woman who dates men, who, we're constantly having to toe that, with a man who has not necessarily negotiated his space within society whilst dating a trans woman. If that guy identifies as straight, then how does, have you negotiated, your own internalized thoughts of your sexuality? And again, how do they see themselves through the eyes of other men?
Yeah, and that's a great example, because you could see in many of those situations, they see themselves as better than, right? And the reason why you can never be in a relationship with someone who feels like they're better than is because you can never trust them. And why can you never trust them? Because they don't see themselves on your level, right? And if you can never have trust, you can never have that commitment. And going back to Sternberg, it is about commitment, it's about passion, and it's about intimacy. If you can't have those 3, you can never have love. It's also interesting, going back to that, is that you could have 2 of the 3. You could have commitment and you could have intimacy and no passion. And what is that? That's a friend.
That gas was brilliant. No, honestly, you blow my mind. I'm like, I'm sat here like a toddler.
Right? But so for to have that consummate love, you need all three. And respect is built into that.
Absolutely. And if any trans girls are watching this, please do not let yourself be a secret to these men. As Paul is saying, it's so important to have those three things, and you deserve those three things. Don't sell yourselves short. Okay, well, I think we're about to wrap up these questions, and we can take some questions from the audience. We've got a roaming mic here. Does anyone have any questions for our lovely panelists or myself?
I feel like you should have mine.
I know, I was going to say, I'll save it now.
It's good.
Paul, just take it. We all know where they're going to.
Oh, we got a question here at the front.
Hi. So I went through a breakup at the end of last year, and I've kind of just started to date again recently. I'm not currently looking for anything serious, but I think my main concern for when I potentially am looking for a relationship and to fall for someone and to feel that like love again is I'm really nervous of we can call them red flags or the indicators in my past relationship that I think I saw them and I ignored them. And by the end of that 3.5 years, I was smaller, my self-esteem was lower, like all of those things that make it the reason why you leave, that all happened. And I think I'm nervous that my kind of like want for love and a relationship will blind me again to some of those essential things that I know I need. So I don't quite know what my question is, maybe how to trust your gut when you've got your gut wrong before. I thought I was right and I was wrong about that, and I stayed for 3.5 years. That's what I'm scared of.
No, that's such a brilliant question because we're all in that zone. Everyone in this room has been in that zone. And I think the first place is to say is, wow, I'm not alone. It's very empowering to know that. The second is that, and this is controversial for some people too, is that, if you look at arranged marriages, they have some of the highest satisfaction rates. And you think, why do they have high satisfaction rates if they're arranged marriages? It's typically because it's the friends and family that are vetting the partner. So if you feel like your radar is off a little bit, surround yourself with your besties and have your besties to vet that partner with you. And that will help you, and that will help to boost your confidence too. To boost your confidence, all you need is small wins. Little small wins, and then the confidence leaps up. Your decision-making leaps up. So surround yourself with friends and family. Introduce them right away to your partner. What do you think? Right? Talk about it. That will help you to feel more confident in your decisions. Okay. Yeah, but group date, really. Group date. Yeah.
I'll
group
take
date.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I also add that there's a real reward in staying open and, not allowing past heartbreak to stop you from finding somebody new to connect with, and also not carrying on that heartbreak, with a new connection. I think it's a real gift that you can give to yourself to, just stay vulnerable in a good way, I think. So just my 2 cents. Who's next? Okay, we got Darkwater here.
Okay, so Sternberg's triad, I'm going to call it, just for like a brief second. How do you differentiate passion from limerence? Because those things feel quite similar, especially over a short period of time, living in a fast-paced world, in like a fast-paced city like London. How do you differentiate the two and safeguard yourself and your emotions? Brilliant question.
So one is that, let's say limerence, because most of it was like, limerence, oh my gosh, this guy's a scientist over here, right? So limerence in essence it's a state of infatuation, right? It's infatuation. Now there is, as Sternberg describes it, is that there is physical attraction and then there's sexual attraction. Ooh. Now what's the difference between physical attraction and sexual attraction? Come on now.
Physical attraction and sexual attraction.
Yes.
Okay. What is that?
Sexual, like you want to sleep with them, though. And then physical, they're just like.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you, right? There's a difference, right? It is physical, they're hot. Sexual attraction, I want to sleep with you. Okay, there's a difference. So now with infatuation, you're thinking, I always want to sleep with you, right? No matter what. Now, I've been married for 23 years. For 23 years. You know what? My wife doesn't always want to sleep with me, right? She's not infatuated with me. And so the point is that if you want to figure out if it's infatuation or not, check in with, do I always feel like I have this sexual desire towards this person? Because the moment that you realize, you know what, you're hot, but I don't want, like right now, I'm not interested. No. That's how you know, okay, you've moved a little bit out of the limerence. The last piece to that is that limerence typically lasts only 3 to 6 months. So once you start to get beyond that, things change. And the reason why is because you start to experience real things with your partner. You may lose a job. Your partner may lose a family member. And then you show up differently. You see how your partner shows up. So brilliant question. There is a difference. 3 to 6 months on average. You'd feel like you don't want to sleep with them all the time. That's how you know you're no longer in limerence.
Time will tell.
And also, can I do the thick input? If it's like, you could take them on different dates in different environments, like one's like an activity, and then if they're in like cycling shorts, you could be like, ooh. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like different outfit. Or if you don't want to wait 3 to 6 months, then just like different things. So not, again, we all know it's not as good as Paul, but something in
But we're learning so much about icks. So no dogs in profile pictures and no cycling shorts.
Yeah.
I got a dog and a cycling shorts.
What's your ick, Paul?
Can I say one thing about ick? So do you know where the word ick came from?
I heard
Love
it first
Island.
on Love Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Olivia Atwood.
Is it?
Yes, she coined.
Oh my God, the cultural innovator.
Yes, she coined. So it was originally Sex in the City, where I think it was Samantha said something along the lines of, but it wasn't ick, it was like icky. And then Olivia Atwood took this thing and created the ick. It's incredible, isn't it? It's incredible.
I love that though, because I don't know if you can't, if you can tell I'm not great with words. But I really like that word because I feel so like, you know, before it was said, I was like, this is the best word I've ever heard.
It is. It's brilliant.
Because I was going on dates and they do things and I'd be like, oh, I don't like that.
And it
I'll
really
move
is
on.
like that. Is like the immediate,
Yeah.
just like, ick.
And as soon as that word came about, I was like, my life has changed. I was like, that isn't it.
Suddenly so much makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you can. I think you can.
Yeah, but isn't it if you really like them, you'll let the ick slide? Is that the thing? Yeah.
All right. So it might just be the two of us that agree with this. All right, this is super nerdy, but let me go here. All right, so raise your hand if you say you could never get through an ick. Okay, half the room. Okay, so everyone who says you can't get through with an ick, let me paint a picture to you. Okay, so let's say that I put you on an island, and I put you on an island with the person who has the ick, and you remain there for 20 years. How many times have you had sex with them in 20 years? I rest my case. There you go. That's it.
Next question. One at the back.
Sorry, it's for Paul again. It's actually more about friendship. I feel like in a lot of friendship circles, as you get older, there tends to be maybe 1 or 2 people who aren't in relationships and they feel like it's not quite happening for them, and the rest of the friends have kind of moved to a different stage of life, like they don't want to go out as much, and maybe the person that isn't in that stage of life is feeling a little bit of a way about themselves. Like, how do you actually support them without being patronizing?
Well, one is as we get older, our friendship circles tend to shrink, right? But we have to understand how important our friendship circles are, to the point where there's theories around how divorce is contagious. So if you have a friend who is divorced, you know you have a 75% more likelihood that you will be divorced. There is, and the study goes deeper. The study goes deeper. If your friend is not divorced, but their friend is divorced, you still have over a 50% likelihood of being divorced. Now, there's lots of reasons we can unpack later as to why, but those are facts. So you see how important your friendship circle is, who you keep in your circle, what you say in the circle, what you do in the circle. But I would say if you have a friend, and I'm assuming this is your friend.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And your friend is single. Okay. And your friend is what, maybe a little disgruntled?
She's a little bit older than the rest of the group, and I think just feels a little bit, like most of the time she's positive, but I think sometimes she just feels a little bit left out.
Okay. Which is fair. So one is, have you ever had a conversation with her about why she feels left out?
Many.
Okay. What'd she say?
Just that, I don't know, it's just kind of feeling like, not that she's not being chosen, but I don't know, I feel like she feels like none of us that are in couples would ever make her feel that way. But I think she just feels like her presence sometimes could affect how we interact with each other. So she feels like we can't be like coupley, so to speak, when she's around, even though we don't feel like that way when she's there. Okay,
so therefore you have to continue to reinforce that to her and continue to invite her out, right? The other part too is that if you want to really try to boost up someone's self-esteem, like if you think about this, to break it out real quick, is that it always starts with self-acceptance, because you can't have self-love without self-acceptance. So self-acceptance is basically saying, you know what, I feel a certain way when I'm around my friends who have relationships. That's self-acceptance, is acknowledging that, saying I'm okay. Self-esteem is then saying, but you know what, there's other things that I do with my friends that are fine. And then the self-love is the part that I'm still going to nurture myself anyway as a result of that. So I think it's about having her to understand that those are three distinct steps, and for you to continue to invite her into the fold, and for you to continue to celebrate her. That's the key. Every time she has a win in work, socially, whatever it may be, is celebrate that win. That will help to boost up her self-esteem. And when she has a higher self-esteem, she's not going to be so fixated on these issues that you're talking about.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great advice. Oh, Paul. Okay. In the middle here.
I really wish I was going to have like a really like insightful question to get some great advice, but I'm not going to do that. Funny dating story I have, I love to go on a first date, because who doesn't love like free dinner and drinks, right? But once I went on a date with this guy and he like threw up in the middle of the street. So I had to make like a fast exit, obviously make sure he's okay, but have an exit. I want to know how, for each of you, how acceptable is it? Or how many drinks is the limit on a first date? And if there is a funny story that any of you have from just getting white girl wasted.
Go on, Sydney. This one's for you, babe.
Go on, Sol. Well, how many drinks are the limit? Wrong person to ask. You go first and let me think.
All right.
I'm not good on the spot.
How many drinks is it? Well, it depends. If you both get rat-arsed, then both get rat-arsed. Yeah. But if you're not, it's awkward, isn't it, when someone's like getting off the tits in front of you? You're like, okay. I don't know, because
I feel like you work together, don't you?
Yeah.
Like you kind of like it's a back and forth.
Yeah.
It just, if they pull back, I guess you pull back a bit, unless you're too far gone.
If you're on a date with someone and they go, I'm gonna have a Diet Coke. 3.
Leave.
3.
Joking.
Well, yes.
Personally, I feel like it's cute to order the drinks together. And if someone is out drinking you on a date, then I don't know. I feel like, are you uncomfortable? Like, is there something else going on here? Like, I don't know. I feel like when someone is ordering drinks and I've still got my one and they're on their third, then I'm just kind of like, it's a bit off for me. I like to kind of feel the buzz together. Otherwise, you're not really connecting. You're just kind of like drunk.
So here's my take on it. All right, so this I'm gonna go left a little bit, right? Is that so when my wife and I were running this matchmaking agency, we would always give our datees strict rules. We would say, you've got 30 minutes on this date. At the end of the 30 minutes, you call us back or whatever, right? We give them strict rules. And every single time there was a strong match. You know what they did? They broke the rules. And every strong love story I've ever seen, including mine with my wife, we broke the rules. And if you feel like you are on that date and you have broken the rules, your partner's broken the rules, you're throwing up together, he's throwing up, right? You're throwing up all over the place. It doesn't matter, right? You've lost yourself. That technically is the definition. So Dr. Karen Gurney, I think, is phenomenal in terms of, she's a top sex therapist, I think, right here in London. Her definition of the best sex ever is you have lost yourself. I say the best date ever, you know you're in the partnership when you've lost yourself. So if that answers it.
Unlimited number of drinks, perfect.
Oh, yes, we've got another
I just wanted to add to that. I'm going to flip it on its head. I don't drink at all. And when I go on dates and the guy's getting drunk, I'm then like, is it weird if I try and kiss you? Is it weird if we go home and sleep together? Because I'm teetotal and you're like blackout. So I guess I'm like, because this is it. I've basically Mary Magdalene for like a year and a half now. I've not seen and done it like that. So I guess, how do I do that? Like, how do I navigate that?
Over to Paul.
Well, so it sounds like you're uncomfortable. That
Oh, yeah. I'm like, why are you drunk and I'm not? But then I can't get drunk because I'll take it too far.
This is why, if you don't create boundaries, even with well-intentioned people, you turn them into bullies.
Okay. Tea.
And also, you know, Oh, did you have something to add? No, go, please. Safe space.
I was going to say just some aloe vera because she's got burned. So very, sorry, very immature. That was a really good answer, Paul.
Well, I think that's all we've got time for, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. Can you give it up for Paul Brunson, Charley Marlow, and Sydney Lima? We hope you enjoyed it and tune in next time. Thank you.